Hello, Chattanooga. You're listening to AM 1240 and 92.7 FM Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me today and making me just a small part of your day. You know that I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, we got a lot to get to today. Nick Saban news. I want to just sort of continue going through the fallout of the NFL draft because to me, it feels weird. And I'm going to put it in the greater context of this offseason because the whole offseason's just been weird. Possibly the strangest offseason we've ever had in the history of the NFL. And an interesting story involving Usain Bolt, John Ross, and a Tennessee volunteer track star. So we got all of that stuff going for you. But let me talk to you about Nick Saban first. Because Nick Saban today has signed a 3-year extension with the Alabama Crimson Tide. Right, so his salary is going to remain the same. He's going to have a $4 million signing bonus for that extension. The $4 million will be spread out over the next 4 years, which means that Nick Saban will make a grand total of $11.75 million in 2017 for coaching Alabama. And it's hard to say that Nick Saban has not necessarily earned that money because Nick Saban has made a lot of money for the University of Alabama. His time at Alabama is legendary. Okay, it's legendary and bordering on like all-time great kind of legendary. But I think that one thing that's very interesting to me about Nick Saban's entire time at Alabama is this. For whatever reason, the moment Nick Saban started to get successful in Alabama, we wanted him out of Alabama, which is weird because it's not like Alabama is a small school that you step up to, like you step up from Alabama. Like how far up are you trying to go? How far up are you trying to go if Alabama is your step up school? Right? Like how far up are you trying to go? Because Alabama's not Central Florida. Alabama's not, I'm going to be picking on a lot of Florida schools. It's not Florida Atlantic. You know what I mean? Alabama's not Temple. Right? Like Alabama is one of the premier college football programs in the history of college football. Right? Like when you think of college football, you think of Alabama. You think of the University of Southern California. You think of Texas. You could probably toss a couple other ones in there, but like to me, those are the 3 ones. If you wind up coaching at any of those 3 schools and have any degree of success, we will never forget you. Right? Like Mack Brown at Texas. He wasn't great. He won 1 national title there. We're never going to forget Mack Brown. Pete Carroll was successful at Southern California. We're never going to forget Pete Carroll. Nick Saban wasn't just successful at Alabama. Nick Saban, since the moment he arrived at Tuscaloosa, has been nothing short of legendary. Why does it feel like we've been trying to hustle Nick Saban out of town? Like the moment that he arrived. This is I just went and did some digging online, right? Because you on Google, you can search things and do the search for specific time frames. So I went from 2010 to 2015 to try and figure out, because I remember hearing all these stories about Nick Saban, and Nick Saban, this is the year he's leaving Alabama. Nick Saban's concerned with his legacy. Nick Saban's leaving Alabama. And I always thought that was preposterous. Like, even at the time, it sounded ridiculous. What do you mean Nick Saban's leaving Alabama? Why? He is at one of the premier college football programs in college football history, and he is incredibly successful. And by the way, he makes more money than a lot of NFL coaches. Why would he leave? Why would he leave? And yet, every year, Nick Saban's been linked to the Colts, the Saints, the Titans. There was even one story that linked Nick Saban to being the head coach of the University of Texas, which I told you, I mean, they're all in a sphere together, okay? Like Texas is not so much greater than Alabama, right? Like historically, you look at the great Texas coaches and the great Alabama coaches, right? Like Alabama's got the edge because they've got Bear. They've got Bear Bryant. Texas has Darrell K. Royal, who is great. Like, Darrell K. Royal is one of the all-time great coaches in the history of college football. But Bear Bryant is the GOAT, okay? Bear Bryant is the best. And if Bear Bryant isn't the best, Nick Saban might be. Why would Nick leave? It doesn't make any sense. And none of those stories ever did. But every year, it was the story of, well, Nick Saban, he might be leaving. This might be the year. This might be. He's concerned about his legacy. Listen. At the level of college football that Nick Saban is at, if you are great, and I don't mean kind of good, I don't mean, he's effective, great. If you are legendary, your legacy takes care of itself. Nick Saban doesn't have to be successful at the NFL level. Nick Saban doesn't have to be successful at a school in Texas. Nick Saban doesn't have to be successful anywhere else. He is already so supremely successful at Alabama, doing it at the heights of college football. We've changed styles. We've gone from a ranking to a playoff, and it does not seem to have affected him at all. He continues to win the SEC. Player after player after player from all of his teams get drafted. Like, Nick Saban has raised the bar for success so abnormally high. When Nick Saban is done coaching college football, we are not going to have another guy like that for a very long time. His legacy is taking care of itself, right? And my premier example is Coach K at Duke. No one ever asks about Coach K and why Coach K never tried to make it in the NBA. Like, why isn't Coach K concerned about his legacy? He needs to go coach in the NBA to solidify his legacy. Why? Because Duke is one of the premier college basketball programs, and Coach K has been there year after year after year. He's so successful with that school. His legacy is taken care of itself. Why? Like, nobody's trying to hustle Coach K out of town. Right? Like, the idea that Nick Saban went to the NFL, coached the Miami Dolphins, was 15-17 as their head coach, and wasn't really successful at the NFL level. The fact that somehow burns him and means, like, he's got to go back and finish the job. No, he doesn't. He makes more money than most NFL coaches do. He's built to win. He's built to win. Alabama's not going to lose under Nick Saban. And whenever Nick Saban decides to ride off into the sunset, whoever's their head coach next is going to have some degree of success based on whatever it was that Nick Saban left behind. That's how good we're talking, because it's basically what happened at LSU, right? Like, we're going to talk about Les Miles. Like, Les Miles inherited Nick Saban's LSU team and then, like, won a national title off of that. And under no construction of Les Miles' doing was LSU ever successful ever again. Les Miles won a title with Nick Saban's team. That's just a fact. Like, Nick Saban's going to do that for whoever it is that comes to coach Alabama next whenever he's done. It's just not going to be for another 4 years. The 2022 season is going to be how long Nick Saban's contract is extended for. And, with good reason. He's been so powerfully successful for that school in a state where that's what matters. And he's been so successful, he's warped the rest of the conference. Like, everyone else is simply chasing the ghost of Saban. We are all chasing the ghost of Nick Saban. Everyone else is getting paid more in a very Tiger Woods-like way. Like, Nick Saban gets paid a ton of money, but as a result, if you're going to be trying to catch up, everybody's paying their head coaches more money. Like, Hugh Freeze got a ton more money. Even with NCAA sanctions hanging over his head, Brett Bielema makes more money. Derek Mason makes, more money than I feel like anybody coaching Vanderbilt ought to make, but he makes a ton. Like, and it's all because everyone's trying to catch Nick Saban in some form or some fashion. And despite the fact that everyone is hell-bent on catching them, they've been highly unsuccessful in doing so. Yeah, like, Nick Saban's going to make more money. And while it seems like a ludicrous amount of money, because like $11.7 million for a year of work, You gave me money like that, I might never work again. Oh, not might. I would never work again. That is how I retire. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. And so, yeah, the 3-year contract extension for Nick Saban, $4 million added. He's going to make $11.75 million next season. I just found it baffling that people have been trying to get him out of town. And in a way, it's like, it's not even jealousy. It's not like, oh, go away. It's, for some reason, people somehow seem to have this idea that like there's a level of football higher than Alabama football. Like in college football, no, there isn't. Like Alabama football is right there with USC and Texas, right? Like Florida, you could probably put in there. Ohio State and Michigan. If you're going to go historically, you could put them in there. That's about it. Like that's a very short list of teams. That's a very, very short list of teams. And Alabama's on the list. Easily. So I was looking at the NFL offseason, the draft and all of these free agent signings. And then, of course, like, all the stuff that doesn't happen, right? Like all the trades that we talk about that don't happen. Like, oh, the 49ers might trade with the Redskins to get Kirk Cousins. Like, it's not happening. That both sides are saying it's not happening, and we're still forcing that story. And to me, I feel like I've watched like the single most bizarre NFL offseason in my whole life. I can't think of one that's stranger. Like this draft was strange. People were calling the draft before the draft the cloudiest draft we've ever seen. And after the draft, I'm not sure that it's any less cloudy. Like who's actually good in this draft? Who is actually good in this draft? Because people jumped up, spent an awful lot of picks for quarterbacks. Texans jump up for Watson. Chiefs jump up for Mahomes. Bears jump up for no good reason for Trubisky. And it's kind of crazy. Like that already on the face of it is crazy. And then you had a bunch of really talented guys that fell in the draft. And I don't know if the reasons why they fell in the draft even make sense. Garyon Conley has the alleged rape case in which he claims all of it's false. All of it's wrong. He fell in the draft. Marshawn Lattimore, the hamstring issue, he fell in the draft. Jonathan Allen, the shoulder issue, he fell in the draft. Reuben Foster had the drug test, the shoulder, and a possible altercation with a hospital worker. He fell in the draft. Jabril Peppers, diluted drug sample. He fell in the draft. And then you had the running back thing, which was also weird, which is that I've been told my entire adult life, by the time I became an adult, not to make anybody feel old, but I was told my entire adult life, the running back position is dead, right? Like, because that's around the time I started. When I turned 20 years old is when I really started getting into fantasy football. And what does everybody tell you? Like people always said, like draft a running back, draft a running back. And then I turned 20 years old and everyone's like, no, don't draft running backs. Don't, because that position's dead. And all of this stuff is just starting to look awful cyclical because we went from having good running backs taken in the draft, Darren McFadden, Jonathan Stewart, Rashard Mendenhall, Chris Johnson, Noshawn Moreno, Donald Brown, CJ Spiller, Javid Best, Ryan Matthews, Mark Ingram. Like all those guys are NFL players that still are productive in the league, even if not at a very high level. You had guys like Doug Martin and David Wilson. And then suddenly, starting in 2013, we had like half a decade of base, it feels like, where we didn't talk about running backs at all in the first round. You didn't draft them. You didn't touch them. It's all about getting wide receivers. It's all about spreading people out. We're not running with power. We're trying to get people out in space. It's the college footballification of the NFL. This is where we are now. This is what we do. And then we start to sneak back around to it. I guess possibly because we had some running backs who were drafted in the second round because we stopped drafting them in the first round who actually were successful. Matt Forte and Ray Rice, LaShawn McCoy and DeMarco Murray, Lamar Miller and Le'Veon Bell. These guys ended up getting drafted in the second round because we said we didn't like running backs anymore. So now what happens? Well, now the running backs are back, right? Like we had Todd Gurley recently, and now we've got Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey. Apparently running backs are back again. And that is strange to me because it's weird because the league always feels like it's trending in a direction. Like they say all of this stuff is cyclical, but this stuff isn't all cyclical. Like the NFL is a passing league and has become more of a passing league as time gone on. It's not going to become cyclical and suddenly start turning into a running league again. But at the same time, running backs matter still. I think we just overreacted to how little they mattered. We acted like, okay, because the league is more of a passing league, instead of we're going to run the ball less, we swung the pendulum to we're never running again. And it's crazy. And it's led to this weird, bizarre, crazy offseason where we're drafting Leonard Fournette in the top 5 of the draft, which no one had him going there because no one would ever take a running back of that style like that in this league anymore, except, they did. And it was actually a really good pick. Then you look at the guys who are free agents in the league. And this is where it just gets truly bizarre to me because there's a bunch of guys that, like, if you put on Madden and just told, like, when you play Madden, over the years, the computer in the game will sort of make trades in the league. And like some of those trades that end up happening look like if you saw them in real life, you're like, that trade can't happen. That free agent signing can't happen. That would never work. That it feels like Madden has just become real life. That's really what it feels like because you've got Marshawn Lynch, who retired and then unretired and is a Raider. You got Adrian Peterson, who is a Saint, which I'm not even sure that's a good fit, but whatever. And then Jamal Charles, who might possibly be a Denver Bronco per Adam Schefter. Did somebody break the league while I wasn't looking? Because like if you had told me any of these guys would have changed teams like 3 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you. Like if you came from the future and you were like, Jamal Charles is going to be a Bronco, I would have slapped you just for lying to me. Why would you do that? Don't lie to me like that. Except that's exactly where we are. And like there is the explanation of like why suddenly we have all this value on running backs. I mean, it should be obvious. For years. And you're listening to Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240, 92.7 FM. And check us out, by the way, on Noogaradio.com. We've got a stream on YouTube. You can search Clutch with Keon Rose. And make sure to follow me on Twitter. I am at SportsCloud. But for years, coaches have been telling us, look, we don't like the quarterback product out of college anymore, right? It's a whole lot of look at the sidelines. I don't call plays. I don't know how to use the complicated verbiage of the NFL. I don't know how to read a defense. Spread attacks are ruining quarterbacks. That's all we've been told. Well, if you're going to be drafting from that, right? If that's the pool of talent that you're drafting from and you don't do anything but complain about that pool of talent, what is like the most reliable position in all of that? Right? The running back. Like the running back's job, whether it's a pro style attack or a spread attack, effectively does not change. You might have some more read option with him, but like ultimately a running back's job does not change. You really want a guy who can run between the tackles. You'd like him to have some versatility. He should be able to catch the football and operate in space. And also, it'd be nice if you could keep him on the field every down. If that guy could block, that would be nice. Like they haven't stopped teaching running backs how to do that. So of course running backs are incredibly valuable. Like why did we ever swing away from that? Like it just seems ridiculous that ever happened. All the complaining about quarterbacks, but they don't teach running backs any differently. Running backs still have the same job. That is a very easily translatable skill. Like unless you are having to transition from running behind Alabama's offensive line to running behind Cleveland's a la Trent Richardson, your job does not usually get typically less difficult there. I mean, that's typically the same job. And this offseason, like, it feels like to me, this might be like a seminal offseason for like the next 10 years of football, because it's the offseason where everyone's just sort of gotten it. Oh, we don't have to be ridiculous and completely reactionary all the time, right? Like the quarterback product is weak, but teams are still going up and trying to get quarterbacks because you still need one, right? Like trying to build your team like the Broncos have built their team is nice, but like not everybody can do that, and not every fan base has the patience for that, and you don't have the time. You still need a quarterback. Like this feels like the year we stopped overreacting and really just started making decisions based on, okay, like this is just what I need, so I'm just going to take it. You should probably try and live your life that way too. Like, this is what I need. I should probably go get that. Clutch with Keon Rose at AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. We're going to get into some NBA talk a little bit because some shocking things happened around the association. Next.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Nooga Radio AM 1240 and 92.7 FM News now. Cops say 22-year-old Juwan Reynolds was shot inside a home on Highway 58. HCEMS took him to the hospital. Police say Reynolds has faced several assault charges in the past. The Violent Crimes Bureau is investigating. The victim of burglary says a man broke into his house and stole his dead wife's jewelry, priced at $28,000, and her old bank card, too. Christopher Mark Bearden was arrested on separate charges, and it was found that he had pawned jewelry taken from the victim at the Quick Pawn on Rossville Boulevard. According to police, he was seen on video doing so. Javaris Crutcher has been charged with aggravated burglary after police say he broke into a man's home along with a juvenile in order to steal the man's TV. But the homeowner came home before they were done and caught them in the act. A body found by a hunter on Lookout Mountain has been identified as belonging to Amy Cantrell. Medical examiner says the body had decomposed for about 4 weeks, but no missing report was filed with the authorities. Her car was found and towed on private property a little while earlier. The cause of death is still being investigated. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on. Nooga Radio News, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Clear skies will continue through your nighttime. Comfortably cool again overnight. Lows 50 to 53. For Wednesday, another pretty good day with some sunshine. Mainly dry, a little warmer for the afternoon. Highs lower 80s. Scattered showers and thunder showers roll in on Thursday, then turning much cooler Friday. Bring your lawn and garden back to life with Glass Farm Nursery, featuring all sorts of colors, from flats to hang baskets to trees and shrubs. Open daily, closed Sundays. Glass Farm, Highway 11, 4 miles south of Trenton. And I'm Sorensen 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare on Nooga Radio AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
You have to file your 1040 now. We will handle it for you now. Liberty Tax Service will snip out every deduction, every benefit. Liberty Tax Service now. Red Bank, Saudi Daisy, Dayton. Liberty Tax Service now.
Need windows? Hey folks, do you need new windows? Good news. Window Depot of Chattanooga has a great special going on right now. 10 high-quality, energy-efficient double-hung vinyl windows installed for only $29.90. That's right, 10 double-hung vinyl windows, only $2,990. And yes, they qualify for the TVA rebates. Call 894-0011. Window Depot of Chattanooga today, located at 5950 Shalford Road. Call 894-0011 today.
If I'm the city's most intelligent man, it's because I take 2 shots of Mind Enhancement Complex every day. Nature's Finest keeps me stocked with my mainstay, Formula 4. That's where I start. Formula 4. Industrial farming, soil depletion, mineral empty foods. I just say no. Ask about supplements, health, stamina, circulation, heart, prostate under control. Get the Nooga Radio David Tulis freebie. Save $2 on every 5. 20% off. Nooga Radio, the highway, nature's finest.
The American dream. Home ownership. Are you building equity for your landlord? Why not build that equity for yourself and your family? Rent No More is a no obligation, no cost program. It's designed to teach you the steps necessary and to coach you all along the path to home ownership. Integrity Mortgage Group is owned and operated by local expert Jeff Woody Woodburn. Jeff has been in the mortgage business for over 15 years. Born and raised right here in the Chattanooga area. Jeff is also known as the Lone Ranger. He's helped countless hundreds. Really eager to help you too. So don't wait. Come on, call Danielle right now. You need to reserve your spot for this exciting, informative event. Space is limited, so call now to reserve yours. It's free. 423-517-8004. 423-517-8004. Call 423-517-8004. Hey, Nooga Radio is proud to partner with Integrity Mortgage Group to bring you Rent No More. Reserve your spot for this exciting, informative event. Space is limited, so call now to reserve yours. It's free. 423-517-8004. 423-517-8004. Call 423-517-8004. Stop building equity for your landlord. Live the American dream. Home ownership with Rent No More. We'll see you there.
I have the best steak selection in town. Name of the business is Don's Meat Shop, and I'm Donnie Raines. Just ask for Donnie. I make over 20 different types of sausages. Most of them are great for grilling. We have the best selection, best quality. We have the hard-to-find items. Don's Meat Shop.
Here comes the bride, she's walking down the street.
And she's wearing a stunning diamond ring that's a fraction of the cost that her man would have paid at one of those overpriced mall jewelry stores. Rick Davis has a plethora on quality diamonds and gold rings, and he wants to pass the savings on to you. Did I say plethora? How about overabundance? That's right, an overabundance of gold and diamonds. So before you decide to get crazy and pay full retail on an overpriced piece of jewelry from one of those cookie cutter mall jewelry stores, come on out and see Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. Top quality gold and diamonds at a fraction of the cost. Intermarital bliss with an engagement and wedding ring from Rick Davis. Hey, he'll also buy your gold and diamonds with cash, and more cash. Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. And there goes another happy bride.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
So I got a really cool Tennessee story. John Ross, the Tennessee Volunteers, and Usain Bolt. That's the story. But before I get to that, our phone number is 423-800-8949. That's 800-8949. Not a 1-800 number. It's a 423 number that just happens to start with 800. It's easy for you to remember. I'm just making it less work for you. 800-8949 if you want to interact with any of this at all. I'm going to talk about the NBA for a little bit because the NBA playoffs are currently in session. And I strongly believe, just talking to people in this town, that people like to talk about NBA basketball around this time of year. I'm not going to sit here and try and fight through talking about the NBA during football season, even though, like, I am a big NBA guy. I lived in San Antonio for a number of years. That is a big basketball city. It is the only professional sport there. That is what those people live for. Like, when you walk down the streets of San Antonio, go Spurs go is a greeting. You don't say hi, you say go Spurs go. So I lived there. And I lived in an NBA bubble. But, you know, college football is pretty great. So I live out here, I talk about college football. But during the NBA playoffs, people do like to talk about the NBA playoffs. And I think it's very interesting what happened last night. Very interesting. It wasn't worth watching. I didn't watch very much of that basketball game. Like, once it got out of hand, I was like, cool. I don't need to waste my time with the Spurs and the Rockets tonight. Because I've told you, I don't like to waste my time. I don't sit down and watch bad sports. Typically. If it's my team, I'll suffer through it. But just watch a bad game? No. We're not about to do that. I'm not going to sit down and watch a 30-point beatdown in the name of journalistic integrity. I'm not going to sit down and watch a 30-point beatdown. I'm not going to watch a 30-point beatdown for any reason. Unless my team is on the wrong end of it, in which case I will suffer through it. But then also, while I'm watching that, don't talk to me. You know what I mean? So I was watching that game and I was like, wow, this is an interesting matchup, because I would have assumed the Spurs and the Rockets would have matched up better. I understand the regular season is different from the postseason. But if you thought the Rockets were better than the Spurs and that was a bad matchup, that's fine. I wouldn't have believed you, because I just think the Spurs are better than what they looked like. But if you think the Rockets are better than the Spurs, that's fine. But if you're telling me you legitimately and honestly, truly believed that the Rockets are 30 points better than them, you're crazy, or you're high, or you are some kind of prophet. One of the three, and I'm going on the one with the drugs. For you, if you thought that they were legitimately, that was a 30-point better team. Because I still don't. I watched the game. Like, if they go out there and piece them by 30 again, yeah, I'm going to have to concede some things. I just don't think that will happen twice. And people are just going out there proclaiming that this is over, and that's a horrible matchup. And it is a bad matchup for them because people did not realize this while it was happening, that the San Antonio Spurs, of all teams, have become a one-man team. Right? Like, this whole swing towards team basketball, pace and space, will spread the floor, was popularized by the Spurs when they were beating LeBron James and the Miami Heat to death. Right? In that last NBA Finals in 2014. And that team was eviscerating the Heat. Like, I've never seen that level of complete and total domination in an NBA Finals in my whole life, in my whole admittedly short life. Never seen it. Probably won't see it again, where a team would look that devastated and had zero answers. Like, the last time I saw something that complete and that total was when Shaq and Kobe Lakers, when the Shaq and Kobe Lakers beat the Sixers in 5 games in the 2001 NBA Finals. And even then, the domination was in large part because Shaq and Kobe. When I watched the Spurs beat the Heat in 2014, that wasn't just one guy. That whole team got in on the act of beating the Heat to death. The whole team. I've never seen a complete victory like that in my whole life, in my entire life. And so it's funny that the Spurs, who started that, where the whole team can be in on a complete victory, have sort of become this team where you live and die with Kawhi Leonard. They've become a one-man team. And not only that, but because Kawhi Leonard models his game so much after Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, it looks like the Spurs have become the 2001 or the 2009 Lakers. It's weird. It's the oddest thing you'll ever see on TV because you're just not used to those colors playing basketball in that way. You're just not. That's exactly how they play it. And they got run out of the gym. It completely dismantled and had no answers for a style of offense that they helped make popular. Like, we don't have the Rockets probably in their current form, and the Celtics in their current form, and the Warriors in their current form without the Spurs doing what they did to the Heat. Probably. And here they go. The Spurs are looking more like the Heat team that they beat, starring Kawhi Leonard in his role as LeBron James. It's like I've entered some kind of bizarro world, and I don't have the answer for how they do that differently because their team suddenly looks really old. Like, that was a team where you're like, hey, age isn't an answer. It's not a problem. Like, they've got enough. They got a good blend of young and old guys. Nah, man, that team looks old. And you know who looks really old? LaMarcus Aldridge looks really, really old, which is crazy because he's not old. Like, he's not, I don't know. Is he 30 yet? He looks old. It's insane. So yeah, I look at that team and I go, okay, that game is not as that series is not as far apart as game 1 would indicate, but how far apart it actually is, I have no idea. But as long as the Spurs keep looking like some version of a late 2000s basketball team and not like the team that started this whole pace and space revolution in the first place, that team's going to get beaten to death on a nightly basis. And I will not sit down and watch bad basketball. Won't do it. Clutch with Keon Rose at AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. So, John Ross in the NFL draft. John Ross got drafted to the Cincinnati Bengals. He had it's funny because John Ross did not want to participate in the NFL draft combine. And I usually am against guys participating in the NFL draft combine if they don't have anything left to prove, just because people say like this stuff is going to hurt your draft stock. And it's like, no, if you have good tape and people like you, they're going to take you where they want to take you anyway. Like the combine's not necessarily going to change anything. You have a lot to gain from the combine, but you have a lot to lose as well. And there's some guys that there's nothing you can really add. And like with John Ross, to me, I was like, we know Ross is fast. But if we know John Ross is fast enough to probably beat Chris Johnson's combine record, John Ross should probably run. And he was talking to Deshaun Jackson, and he was saying he didn't want to run. And Deshaun Jackson said, you should probably run. So John Ross runs. He beats Chris Johnson's 40-yard dash record in the NFL draft combine, a record that we didn't think was going to be broken at least this soon. Like every year, guys are bigger, stronger, and faster than they ever were. But like, I don't know that anybody thought Chris Johnson's record was in danger that soon. And yeah, he broke the combine record, which I think helped move him up the draft board some. And to me, that's a guy that I want on my football team because you just cannot teach that level of fast. It is a level of fast that will make your head spin. And for the position that he plays, where that speed really matters, you just can't teach it. Like when Robert Griffin was the fastest quarterback we've ever seen run, it was mind-blowing, but at the same time, it's like you don't play quarterback with your feet necessarily. You play that position with your arm and with your mind. So like you being able to run all that fast is not a guarantee that you're going to be a good quarterback. You play wide receiver with your feet. Like even if you can't catch, if you hit a few home run balls and don't drop the big one, you ultimately play that position with your feet. You make the most of your money with your feet. And if you are a guy that is not fast in the NFL at the wide receiver position, but you are tall, then you are playing that position with your body. Right? Like you're not necessarily like, but there's not a whole lot of translatable skills beyond that. It's like you have to be fast to be a wide receiver in this league. And John Ross is definitely that. And so John Ross was being introduced by the Cincinnati Bengals media, and he was kind of talking a little bit of smack and then said something along the lines of he could beat Usain Bolt in a 40-yard dash, which to me was a really funny thing for him to say. I just thought it was funny and just like a crazy thing to say. And like, it's one of those sports hypotheticals of, well, how fast are these guys really? Right? Like guys who are track stars, how fast is a guy like John Ross compared to, you know, a guy like Russell Westbrook, even like these sort of cross sport track meet ideas that pop up into your head. So like the idea of John Ross racing Usain Bolt was like momentarily funny, but not at all newsworthy originally. And then a funny thing happened. Christian Coleman from the University of Tennessee, who is at this point the fastest man in the NCAA and is going to be headed to the Olympics to represent the United States of America. This man decided to take it upon himself to prove that there is no way that John Ross is faster than an Olympic level sprinter. There's no way. And Christian Coleman broke John Ross's record. And to me, when I watched the video, the thing that stood out to me was that he did it so much more easily. Like he looked like he was putting in so much less effort than what John Ross was doing. Like John Ross had a 4.22 second 40-yard dash. He covered 40 yards in 4.22 seconds. Christian Coleman did it in 4.12 seconds. So completely smashes that record. And just to do it. And like Christian Coleman is not faster than Usain Bolt. So think about that, right? He's not faster than Usain Bolt. So we don't even need Usain Bolt to prove that John Ross can't beat Usain Bolt, because John Ross can't beat Christian Coleman. But like immediately after that, we start hearing buzzes from Butch Jones because of course we are. And Butch Jones wants that man in a Tennessee Volunteers uniform. Christian Coleman, I mean, not John Ross. Butch Jones wants Christian Coleman in a Tennessee Volunteers uniform. And at first I was going to be like, that's ridiculous, except who can blame him? Who can blame him? You can't teach fast like that. Like, a guy is either that fast or he is not that fast. I can teach you how to catch. I can teach you how to block. I can teach you how to recognize a defense. I cannot teach you that level of speed. You already have that, and I want that on my football team. And when it comes to like wide receiver, running back, like, I will get all Al Davis about this. I like fast. Fast is, to me, the coolest thing about football. You can keep guys that are strong and powerful and angry and nasty. I will take a fast guy every day of the week. Give me Randy Moss. Like, just long strides, and he's covered 30 yards in like 3 steps. I like that guy. Then if he's gifted as a catcher too, well, then I'll take that as well. But like, give me the fast guy every single time. Like, call me one-dimensional, but that's what I like. So yeah, I understand Butch Jones wanting to get Christian Coleman in a Tennessee Volunteers uniform. Like, yeah. Your track thing is great. How about you put on these pads though? Because they will never catch you. They will never catch you. Right? Like, that to me is something that I would like to see, because it's to me, it's like one of those things where it should be blatantly obvious. The practical application of having a track star on your football team. Who's going to catch him? Who's going to catch him? Like, it's worth it. Even if you try and do an experiment with it and it doesn't work out, it was worth it to try. It was worth it to try and get a man that fast on your football team. Like, all of those grumblings, Butch Jones was like, hey, who do I have to call? Who do I have to call to make this okay? Because I'll tell you, I for one, am a fan of speed, right? Like, anybody who's seen, like, whenever I watch the draft combine, anybody who's seen me during the draft combine, because I do watch it. Like, if you watch me during the draft combine, anytime a guy runs fast, like, I immediately want that guy on my team. Like, I have to go back and watch your tape to discourage myself from wanting that player, right? Like, Myles Garrett ran his 40-yard dash, and I was like, oh my gosh. Yep, want him. Gimme. And then I have to go back and watch Myles Garrett, like, not be effective against SEC defenses or offensive lines and struggle to stop the run to convince myself, you know what, maybe I don't want Myles Garrett. It's a close one. I'll tell you that. But man, that whole story got so out of hand so fast. And people think that Butch Jones is kidding. People think Butch Jones is kidding when he's talking about trying to get Christian Coleman on the football team. Let me tell you something about football coaches. Football coaches never kid about speed, especially at the college level. Football coaches never joke about speed. If you can get a guy that fast on your football team, he might have presented it as a joke. That's not a joke. That is reality. That is a man on a mission. Okay? We're talking about Butch Jones, who offered a scholarship to a middle schooler. To be fair, a middle schooler with incredible ball skills, a middle schooler who is already like 6'2". But this is a man who offered a scholarship to an 8th grader. Do you think Butch Jones is not above trying to steal a track athlete for his football team? Because I'm telling you right now, if you would offer a scholarship to an 8th grader, which, listen, when it comes to these recruiting things, and it gets younger and younger every year, it's the creepiest thing to me when coaches are like, yep, I've got my eye on this 7th grader. It is the creepiest thing to me. If you are not beneath even that level of creepiness, why is that impossible to think that Butch Jones would want to steal a fellow Tennessee Volunteer athlete and just have him change sports? Why would you think that was impossible? He's not kidding. This is not a drill. That is not a joke. He is dead serious. He is serious as a heart attack. Right? Like we like to make fun of people like Al Davis when Al Davis was still alive about how Al Davis would literally just try and draft everybody who was fast, right? Like the whole Darius Hayward-Bay debacle, in which we all knew Darius Hayward-Bay was fast, but like his hands were suspect. And then he got into the league and he was still very fast, but he could not catch. Want to make fun of him for that, but whenever you see a fast guy, what's not to like? I'm serious. Like, what's not to like about that? Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 at NoogaRadio.com. Like, most of these guys are getting drafted on the prospect of just being insanely fast. Right? Like, you just mash on the accelerator and leave you. So, a little bit of interesting news. I don't know how many people follow the TV show Pitch. It was on Fox. It got canceled recently. And from what I understand, I didn't get to see very much of it. From what I understand, it was a pretty good show. It's about a woman trying to make it in the major leagues as a pitcher. Pretty decent story. Again, from what I understand, my thing with that show, and it's like another one of those examples of people just not understanding their target market. But who are you marketing that show to? Because the people who would watch that show and go, oh, this is a baseball show, you get no women. No women are going to watch a show about baseball. And then the men aren't going to sit down and watch a show about a woman trying to make it in the major leagues. Like, it's just like, we're just not at that point in America yet where it's like, yep, I'm going to sit down and watch this show about a woman trying to succeed in a man's world and be completely fine with it. We're just not at that point in America. Who are you marketing this show to? Just seems a little bit wild to me. I thought that maybe you might want a little bit more focus in that. But like, I like the idea of a sports show on TV. I think we should try and find a way to get another one back. I would watch it. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. Make sure to check us out on NoogaRadio.com. Got a little bit more NBA playoff talk coming up around the corner. And then an Alabama softball story. Too ridiculous to believe.
Chattanooga's best kept secret, Boyd Speedway. Come see the fastest dirt late model drivers in the South compete for a purse every Saturday night. Pit gates open at 3, grandstand opens at 5. Racing starts at 7. Bring the whole family for a night of fun as they tear it up on the dirt track. Go to BoydSpeedway.net and check out the Dirt Simulator. BoydSpeedway.DirtSimulator.com. Chattanooga's best kept secret, Boyd Speedway. Fun-filled, outrageous racing. We'll see you Saturday night.
The Nesmith Street Stock Event. Limited late models, crate late models, sportsman, hobby, and street stocks.
Boyd Speedway.
Competent, kind, caring, knowledgeable, experienced, great listener, great negotiator, in touch, accessible. If these are the characteristics you want and need in a realtor, you want and need Thomas DeMoss of Keller Williams Realty. Thomas is a very gifted realtor who puts the client's needs first. Whether you're buying or selling a home, Thomas is the realtor of choice. Thomas will help and guide you through each step of this very important process. For many of us, the purchase of a home is one of our largest investments and most important family and financial decision. Let Thomas use his 10 years of experience in the Chattanooga real estate market to give you the advantage you need when buying or selling a home. Buying a house? Thomas can help you navigate the emotional and somewhat anxious process of buying a home. For those of you who want to sell a house, Thomas uses his marketing and negotiating experience to help you sell your home for top dollar. Thomas is a local resident, raising his family here in Hamilton County. He knows the area very well. For many agents, real estate is a job. With Thomas DeMoss, it's a passion and what he loves to do. Call Thomas today for a no-obligation consultation. He makes the process as simple as possible. Call 423-364-0028 and visit his website, NorthRiverPropertyGroup.com.
Picture that curl of steam rising from your fresh-made pizza. And in a flash, let it take you aloft, teasing all your senses. I'm talking about Jet's Pizza. If you eat out at Jet's in Hickson or take home your steaming deep dish square pizza, you'll love Jet's. They use only the best ingredients in a family recipe. Also try the cheesy bread, wings, chicken, or bread with bacon, antipasta or Greek salad. Jet's Pizza at Buy Low near the S-Curves. Open till 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday. You can order online or have it delivered. jetspizza.com. That's jetspizza.com. Or call them now. They'll have it ready when you get there. 757-1616. That's 757-1616.
Jet's Pizza, the best pizza in town. 3600 Hickson Pike.
Life is short. Eat better pizza.
Let's get Jets.
Final expenses, funeral cost, cemetery lots, unpaid medical bills, probate cost, debts. Debts are due and payable upon death of debtor. Will these costs produce a burden and hardship on your loved ones? Who will be responsible? How will they handle them? These costs can total many thousands of dollars, only compounded greater with the grief of losing a family member. A safe and secure way to provide for these costs is with an affordable life insurance from Covenant Group Insurance and Financial Services. Covenant Group is a local company with local agents. Covenant Group still makes house calls. Covenant Group only represents A-rated companies. With many options to offer, Covenant Group can accommodate almost any budget. Great discounts for good health and plans available for impaired risk. Call today for a free, no-obligation consultation in the convenience of your home. Call Steve or Jada at 423-855-8484. Call today, 423-855-8484.
Need a tiller to get things going for the spring? Spiff up your porch, maybe your deck? Come on by and get a pressure washer at Action Rental. Family in town, need some tables and chairs for an event? Come on by and see us, Action Rental. This is Dan at Action Rental on Lee Highway. Come by and see me. Action Rentals.
It is Eric Jones hard into the outside wall, and they are still 3 and 4 wide. It looks like we're racing at Talladega.
Caution flag is out. It looked like Denny Hamlin was trying to get by Ricky Stenhouse. Got into the back of Ricky at the line. Man, that's a close one. Matt Kenseth wins stage 1.
Green checkered flag is out, and Brad Keselowski has won stage 2.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. into the wall. That will bring out the caution. Caution waving once again. And again, it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. involved.
Oh, trouble. Ty Dillon has gotten turned to the inside of the racetrack, and Clint Boyer has just nailed him.
Matt Kenseth falling back, the field storming by. Something wrong. Now we see sparks from Kenseth's Toyota.
Larson chops him off. Coming off turn number 2. Nose to tail. Now it's Logano to the high side in 3.
Joey Logano, a winner here at the Richmond International Raceway.
Here at Live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Fox News Talk 1240. The voice of NASCAR.
WBLZ HD4 Ottawa. W224AZ Chattanooga.
WSDT Saudi Daisy Chattanooga.
For the family of African-American Walter Scott, who was gunned down by a white cop in South Carolina.
Today is a day of victory. We got justice.
Racial taunts at Boston's Fenway Park.
Things like this don't have a place in the game.
This is the CBS World News Roundup, late edition. I'm Dave Barrett. It has taken more than 2 years from this. The officer-involved shooting of Walter Scott in North Charleston, South Carolina, to today when now ex-cop Michael Slager accepted a plea deal. Scott, an unarmed black man, was shot by that white officer after a traffic stop. The shooting caught on dashboard video and by a bystander's cell phone. Judy Scott is the victim's mother.
Today is a good day for justice. I thank God for justice in Charleston.
I'm Jim Crisula. White former South Carolina police officer Michael Slager faces up to life in prison and a $250,000 fine after pleading guilty to violating the civil rights of Walter Scott by shooting him without justification.
The Justice Department is not going to bring charges against police officers involved in Alton Sterling's death last year in Baton Rouge. His shooting by cops led to protests in that city. It may have been one fan or a couple, but that was enough to tarnish Boston's sports reputation. Racial insults were tossed. So was a bag of peanuts at Baltimore outfielder Adam Jones. Happened last night at Fenway Park.
Something like this, it just shows that people still live in their own world. They still have their own views, obviously. And some people like to express hatred towards another person and other groups.
Jones is African-American. He's been in the major leagues for 12 seasons. He says last night the N-word was used in what was as bad a racial incident as he's endured. He spoke with reporters this afternoon at Fenway, said fans have the right to criticize to a point.
Free Raiders cuss us out, tell us we suck, tell us, if we ground it out, whatever. Leave it to performance-based comments.
Boston Mayor Marty Walsh on the racial incident.
It bothers me. I mean, that's not who we are as a city, and that's not the representation that we should be displaying at Fenway Park or any park.
Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred issued a statement saying those who make racial remarks would be ejected from the ballpark and they could face further action. Looking at life for Black Americans, CBS's Jim Taylor details the Urban League's annual snapshot.
Head of the National Urban League credits any progress made to the past president.
A good part of this report covers what occurred in the Obama years.
But Mark Morial also says
progress remains stagnant. The challenges that have existed historically still remain. Economic disparities remain wide.
And on Wall Street, the Dow was up 36 points today. The NASDAQ gained 3. The S&P was up 2. Now this.
If you're a CPAP user, soap and water cleaning may leave harmful bacteria, viruses, and mold that can make you sick. That alone will keep you up at night. Until now, SoClean.com is the world's first and only automated, hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. SoClean kills 99.9% of all CPAP germs without soap, water, harsh chemicals, or even equipment disassembly. And now you can try it risk-free for 30 days. Call 1-800-912-7630.
SoClean changed the CPAP experience for the better. My health has improved. It's simple to use, and I'm not worried about infections.
SoClean's revolutionary design makes it easy to clean your CPAP and protect you against CPAP-related illnesses. Plus, SoClean works with all popular CPAP devices to clean them in minutes. It really is that easy. Don't risk your health. Call SoClean.com now to try it risk-free for 30 days. Call 1-800-912-7630. This offer won't last. Call now. 800-912-7630. 800-912-7630.
Former Assistant Attorney General Sally Yates will likely go before the Senate Judiciary Committee next week to talk about former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. CBS's Bill Rakoff with details.
Yates's testimony has been widely anticipated because it's believed that she thought Flynn was compromised and had not been forthcoming about his statements to Vice President Mike Pence about ties with the Russian ambassador. Yates was supposed to testify last month before the House Intelligence Committee, but it was a hearing that was abruptly shut down by then-Chairman Devin Nunes.
At the White House today, President Trump.
How's health care coming, folks? How's it doing? All right, we're moving along. I think it's time now, right?
Might be a House vote in a day or two on Obamacare replacement. On WHTC Radio, Michigan Republican Fred Upton.
The way that it is now, I can't support it.
Upton unhappy with an amendment that might leave out coverage for those who have pre-existing conditions. You're listening to CBS
Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM News Now. Cops say 22-year-old Juwan Reynolds was shot inside a home on Highway 58. HCEMS took him to the hospital. Police say Reynolds has faced several assault charges in the past. The Violent Crimes Bureau is investigating. The victim of burglary says a man broke into his house and stole his dead wife's jewelry, priced at $28,000, and her old bank card, too. Christopher Mark Bearden was arrested on separate charges, and it was found that he had pawned jewelry taken from the victim at the Quick Pawn on Rossville Boulevard, according to police. He was seen on video doing so. Javaris Crutcher has been charged with aggravated burglary after police say he broke into a man's home, along with a juvenile, in order to steal the man's TV. But the homeowner came home before they were done and caught them in the act. A body found by a hunter on Lookout Mountain has been identified as belonging to Annie Cantrell. Medical examiner says the body had decomposed for about 4 weeks, but no missing report was filed with the authorities. Her car was found and towed on private property a little while earlier. The cause of death is still being investigated. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on. Nooga Radio News, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Clear skies will continue through your nighttime. Comfortably cool again overnight. Lows 50 to 53. For Wednesday, another pretty good day with some sunshine. Mainly dry, a little warmer for the afternoon. Highs lower 80s. Scattered showers and thunder showers roll in on Thursday, then turning much cooler Friday. Bring your lawn and garden back to life with Glass Farm Nursery, featuring all sorts of colors, from flats to hang baskets to trees and shrubs. Open daily, closed Sundays. Glass Farm, Highway 11, 4 miles south of Trenton. And I'm Sorensen 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Core on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd, right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Hello, Chattanooga. You're listening to AM 1240, 92.7 FM, Clutch with Keon Rose. Phone number is 423-800-8949. 800-8949 is our phone number if you want to interact with any of our topics today. So, I've just been thinking a lot about the NFL draft and the NFL offseason. And it's funny because it just ties into me with Nick Saban, the big story of the day. Nick Saban gets a 3-year contract extension, $4 million added to his salary, spread out over the next 4 seasons, meaning that Nick Saban will make a grand total of $11.7 million next season. That is a lot of bread. The issue here is that every time we have the offseason, we go through Black Monday, which not unlike Black Friday, just keeps on sneaking up earlier and earlier and earlier, right? Like we end up with Black Monday essentially being just Sunday afternoon at this point, where all the NFL head coaches who are going to get fired. And at that point, we just immediately start looking for, well, who's going to be the guy that fills this void, and who fills this void, and who fills this void. And a lot of this is a carousel. You see a lot of coaches that you saw before that maybe they weren't successful in previous stints, but they're going to get another chance to coach another team, and they're going to take it because everybody wants to try and be a head coach and see if they can maneuver a franchise to some level of success, even if that means inheriting on some level a complete dumpster fire. And a lot of times we'll try and dig into the college ranks. Which college coach is good enough to make the leap to the NFL? Right? And the same few names end up getting tossed around all the time. Same few names, really. Like Urban Meyer's name gets tossed around. Jim Harbaugh's name gets tossed around in terms of coming back to the NFL. And Nick Saban's name gets tossed around frequently. And I always think every year that this happens, there could not be a more asinine conversation in sports. I mean, it's possibly the stupidest conversation. Here you have 3 men at the top of their game at premier college football powerhouses, Michigan, Ohio State, and Alabama. Why on earth would they ever leave, right? Like if Jim Harbaugh shot somebody in the middle of the campus, people would be like, did he really do it? He could be caught on tape. In fact, like it doesn't even have to be that drastic. Jim Harbaugh has gotten away with a number of ludicrous things, in large part because he is Jim Harbaugh. Can anybody get away with being as stupid as Jim Harbaugh gets to just be publicly? Right? Like, there was a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, and they were going to give away free steak dinners for every touchdown that Michigan beat. Who did they play earlier? I think it was Temple by. Right? No, it was Rutgers. By every touchdown they beat Rutgers by. And Jim Harbaugh showed up to the promotion after his team basically waxed Rutgers 70-something to 3. Like it just, who does that? Who tries to give a pair of Jordans to the Pope? Who throws around a football in an Italian mall and then almost gets kicked out? Like Jim Harbaugh gets away with all this stuff in large part because he is Jim Harbaugh. You can't get away with a lot of this stuff in the NFL. Like you can't try and just give a pair of Jordans to the Pope and everyone's like, yeah, no, that's funny. It's funny if you're in college and you do it. It's not funny if you're in the pros and do it. Like, because if you do that in the NFL and somehow it does not result in victories, they're going to look at you and go, why don't you try and expand that playbook a little bit? In that film room with your quarterback instead of goofing off in Italy. Right? Like Urban Meyer is a guy, especially when he was at Florida, a lot of his players would get arrested. A lot of them would get arrested. And Urban Meyer was so successful, it was just known, like, this is just what it is. Like, the discipline at Florida was severely, severely lacking, and we just kind of let Urban Meyer get away with it because he was winning a lot of football games. You don't get away with a lot of that stuff in the NFL because winning football games on some level is just so much more difficult for guys of even that caliber. So like Nick Saban, like, why would you want to leave? Why would you want to leave Tuscaloosa, where you are basically the king? Your wife is the queen of that city. She cannot do anything wrong there. If you go to the NFL, you've got all of this scrutiny. You have to win right away. People are looking at your every single move. You don't get to recruit players. You have to go through a drafting process. Like, there is just so much in the NFL that you don't have to deal with if you're a college football head coach, that if you're being paid very handsomely and $11.7 million next year, hey, that ain't bad. If you're getting paid handsomely, why on earth would you ever want to leave? Why do we entertain these stupid conversations every single year? And I mean every single year. Like, there is not a year where it becomes less stupid to open this up. I don't want to hear about how teams are calling Nick Saban next year. I don't care if it's the Titans, the Colts, the Saints. Who else has a coach on the hot seat? The Jaguars. I don't care. He's not leaving. Okay? And now Alabama's given him 4 million more reasons to not leave. A boatload of cash. I just, like, why does this always come up? It comes up every single year. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. Speaking of the NFL offseason, I do think that one normal thing happened out of this NFL offseason, which might be like the first time that this normal thing has actually happened. We have a tendency in sports, like, punish things that don't make any sense. Like, why would you punish a guy for that? And then reward things that should never be rewarded, right? Like, guys get second chances for doing the most heinous stuff all the time. Like, how many chances was Greg Hardy actually going to have? Greg Hardy was allegedly choking his ex-girlfriend on a pile of guns. Like, that to me, it's like if you were trying to find a way to commit as many wrongful acts as humanly possible, that would be how you would start. That would be how you would start. Like domestic abuse is not something that you should just be able to bounce back from, right? So he kind of gets suspended, appeals the suspension, and then there's something in the NFL rulebook where he gets to come back a little bit earlier. So the Cowboys sign him because, like, Greg Hardy can play. Greg Hardy can legitimately play. He's a great player. But what an awful human being. And, like, you should not have that rewarded. And he showed no remorse for what he actually did, which, like, is not important for me. I don't want him to show remorse. But if I'm going to pay the guy and I want my conscience to be clean, I want that guy to show remorse. I want him to admit that what he did was wrong, and I want him to say that he is sorry. He never did that. And even in a few interviews sort of implied that it wasn't his fault. Like, yeah, no, that guy doesn't deserve a second chance. Right? Like, we make this giant stink about Michael Vick, but Michael Vick went to jail and showed heaps and heaps of remorse for what he did. Ray Rice never got back in the league, and Ray Rice showed heaps and heaps of remorse for what he did. But the idea was, well, those guys are kind of over the hill at this point. Like Ray Rice was not in his prime. Michael Vick was not in his prime. So it was okay to just keep giving those guys hell. But Greg Hardy is right up in the middle of his prime. He did something awful. He doesn't seem to care. There did not seem to be any remorse involved with what he did. So the Cowboys obviously signed him to a massive deal. Like, what are we doing here? So you just sometimes see this stuff not necessarily get punished in the way that it ought to be punished. And then we try and punish things that don't need to be punished, right? And, like, no bigger example of that is that when we look at Christian McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette, They chose not to play in their respective bowl games, which to me, I don't have a problem with because there's way too many of them. They don't matter. And like them not playing is not going to open the floodgates that kills college football. It may open up the floodgates that expose the bowl games for being as worthless as they are. But then that's a different conversation that you're having, not whether or not players should be required to play. They chose not to play because it's an exhibition game and the games are pointless. And like everybody knows, this is not a secret. These games do not have meaning. Okay? They don't matter. It's nice. It's nice to turn to your fan base and go, hey, see, I did get you guys to a bowl game. But like, it's not a bowl game that means anything. Like Tennessee fans are pleased with the fact that they were able to beat the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Would you rather have that or an SEC title appearance? Like, I feel like that's what they really wanted. I think that's what they really wanted. It's just a nice little thing that you get to check off the box and say, bowl game, we went to it. Gives you a nice little win on the record there, like an extra win if you're able to win. Like that's it. Doesn't have that extra meaning. And we were talking about, well, there should be some kind of punishment for Fournette and McCaffrey. They shouldn't necessarily be drafted where they're being drafted because, like, what does that say about college football? It says that college football plays a lot of pointless games at the end of its regular season. That's what it says. We were talking about like there should have been a punishment for that. Like they shouldn't have been drafted where they got drafted. And now a bunch of other guys are going to get drafted high while skipping bowl games. Well, yes. Yes. The NFL is not college football. The NFL doesn't care about whether or not players play in bowl games. Leonard Fournette could have sat out every game this season, and he had an ankle that was bothering him the entire season, and the only way to really fix that injury was to rest, and he still played on that ankle. Leonard Fournette could have sat out this entire season, and he would have still been taken in the top 10. I honestly believe that. I don't know if he would have been taken 4, but he would have been taken in the top 10. For sure. I mean, it's not the NFL's responsibility to make sure guys play in college football. Why are we talking about punishing that? But I'm glad that it didn't happen. I'm glad Leonard Fournette ended up being taken 4th overall. I'm glad Christian McCaffrey ended up being taken 8th overall. Because what that shows is these guys are good. Their production was good. We're drafting them based on the merits of what they've done, not on what a bunch of people thought that they should have done. Yeah, these guys were productive in college. I think they're going to be productive on our NFL team. Why would that change with one bowl game? Right? And then the things that deserve to be punished in this draft anyway, those things did get punished. Right? Like Reuben Foster had the altercation with a hospital worker. Joe Mixon punched that young woman in the face in the middle of a restaurant. And Joe Mixon ended up falling to the 4th round. The Bengals take the chance on him because the Bengals always take the chance on guys that are quote unquote bad guys. And that's why they have a locker room full of knuckleheads. But the Bengals take the chance on him. But those are 1st round talents. And they fall in large part because of their actions, which I think that should be how this all actually works. Right? Like I want to see a guy make a bad mistake, and then, you know what? You're going to fall in the draft for that. That's just the way it is. Right? And honestly, if it's me, Joe Mixon doesn't even go drafted, right? Like I wouldn't draft him. I wouldn't have drafted him. Like I saw what he did. I saw how hard he hit that girl. I wouldn't have drafted him. It would have been nowhere on my board. And that is, by the way, acknowledging that Joe Mixon is a very, very, very talented running back. I am a Big 12 guy. I've seen Joe Mixon at work. Wouldn't have drafted him. I don't want that in my locker room. And I think that there is value to not having that in your locker room. And maybe he's sorry. And he has shown remorse. Like he is sorry for what he does. So like if you're a person that's like, okay, this guy looks like he might actually be sorry for what he did, I'm just going to go ahead and take the chance. Then yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the chance. But like for me, There has to be some weight there. It can't just be, well, he's talented, so we're just going to take the shot anyway. Right? Like, it's just insane. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 and NoogaRadio.com and 92.7 FM and our stream on YouTube. Where else? We're all over the place. We are all over the place. So one other thing about the NFL offseason, then I will recede. The Cleveland Browns keep winning. The Cleveland Browns keep winning. And I don't know if any team makes me more excited about their future than the Cleveland Browns. Now, they're going to have to stick to this. This isn't going to be one of those things where it's a quick, well, it didn't work out in 3 years, so we're off the ride, right? It's going to be another awful regular season. They probably win more than one game next year. I think they win about 5, which is not great. But like when you won 1, you'll take 5, right? Like you'll take it. I for one like the direction that they're headed in, though, and I like that they keep stockpiling the draft picks. People seem to hate that. Like the Browns keep taking draft picks, and they don't necessarily keep taking talent. But draft picks kind of are this gigantic perpetual motion machine. And the numbers and analytics guys love the stockpiling of draft picks because draft picks represent future potential. And draft picks give you leverage to move up in the draft when you want to be decisive. Draft picks give you the leverage to try and see if you can get a player from another team that might not otherwise just willingly want to come to Cleveland to play. But like, I like the draft picks that they're taking. And oh, by the way, they drafted Sean Kaiser, who is a guy that everyone believes is the guy with the highest upside in the draft, who is probably incredibly raw, right? Like he's just so raw that you cannot draft a Sean Kaiser in the first round. But he has the capability of being a very high-level talent. So you just take the chance on him, and you still have 1 million more draft picks left. Right? Like everybody is the king of the draft. Everybody likes to tell you how to run your draft when they're not you. But why didn't you take a quarterback? And they get to speak out of both sides of their mouth. They get to tell you that the quarterback draft is weak, but then when you don't take a quarterback in a weak quarterback draft, they tell you that you should have taken a quarterback. It's pretty insane. It's the same thing where like if you get a nice job, you get a job that you like, especially a job that people perceive to be fun. People like the first thing that people like to do is to tell you how to do that job. Right? Like I have this radio show. I like being on the air. I have my ideas as to where I want the show to go and what to do. I do the prep every day. I don't have a staff. I don't have a crew. I get here few hours early and I start going to work. Okay. I do the prep every day. And people outside of my show start trying to tell me, here's how you do the show. Here's what you should do. Here's what sounds good on the radio. Like, I went to school for this. I've been listening to sports radio my whole life. I know exactly where I want to go with this. And I'm not talking about my bosses. Like your bosses are going to tell you, look, this is what you need to do. And I like having a job, so I just do it. But I'm talking about like friends, like people who listen to the show tell you how to do the show, right? Like you can't let other people live your life. The Cleveland Browns clearly have a plan. It's not like they're doing something random and crazy and weird. That's the reason why I don't have any problem calling out the Bears and telling them how to do their draft. They don't have a plan, right? Like there's what's the plan? Like if you had a plan, then yeah, I would say go ahead and do your thing. I don't necessarily agree, but go ahead and do your thing. You don't have a plan. Like not having a plan is not okay. That's why I like to make fun of the Democrats so much, politically speaking. It's like as much as I like to make fun of Donald Trump, and it is fun. I like to make fun of the Democrats a little bit more because it's like, well, what plan do you have? There's no plan. And if you don't have a plan, you are open to mockery. But the Cleveland Browns have a plan. They clearly have a plan. And they're being mocked purely based on history. And I am waiting for that moment when people realize like that history is wrong. And it feels like it's gonna come out of nowhere, but it's not coming out of nowhere. They're stockpiling the picks. They're making the right moves. They're using data and analytics, and they're trying to be ahead of this thing, because clearly trying to do things in this conventional way where you try and hire a coach and hire a general manager, wait for them to succeed, they're not successful, rinse and repeat, has not been working for that team that feels like one of the most snake-bitten teams in the history of sports. It hasn't been working out for them. That whole city feels snake-bitten in a lot of ways. Hasn't been working out for them. So they're trying something new. And then, of course, they're getting ridiculed for doing that too. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I don't like that sort of from the bleachers, from the sidelines, we're going to tell you what to do. And if you do one thing, we're going to tell you should have gone the other way. Like if you go right, we're going to tell you should have gone left. And if you go left, we're going to tell you should have gone right. The no-win situations that the media likes to put people in because it's just fun. Like, we seem to enjoy it. And I'll agree, I'll admit it is fun, but also it's not particularly helpful or enriching in any particular kind of way. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Brown Jays. Just a little. Clutch with Keon Rose at AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. News now. Cops say 22-year-old Juwan Reynolds was shot inside a home on Highway 58. HCEMS took him to the hospital. Police say Reynolds has faced several assault charges in the past. The Violent Crimes Bureau is investigating. The victim of burglary says a man broke into his house and stole his dead wife's jewelry, priced at $28,000, and her old bank card, too. Christopher Mark Bearden was arrested on separate charges, and it was found that he had pawned jewelry taken from the victim at the Quick Pawn on Rossville Boulevard. According to police, he was seen on video doing so. Javaris Crutcher has been charged with aggravated burglary after police say he broke into a man's home along with a juvenile in order to steal the man's TV. But the homeowner came home before they were done and caught them in the act. A body found by a hunter on Lookout Mountain has been identified as belonging to Amy Cantrell. Medical examiner says the body had decomposed for about 4 weeks, but no missing report was filed with the authorities. Her car was found and towed on private property a little while earlier. The cause of death is still being investigated. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on. Nooga Radio News, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Clear skies will continue through your nighttime. Comfortably cool again overnight. Lows 50 to 53. For Wednesday, another pretty good day with some sunshine. Mainly dry, a little warmer for the afternoon. Highs lower 80s. Scattered showers and thunder showers roll in on Thursday, then turning much cooler Friday. Bring your lawn and garden back to life with Glass Farm Nursery, featuring all sorts of colors, from flats to hang baskets to trees and shrubs. Open daily, closed Sundays. Glass Farm, Highway 11, 4 miles south of Trenton. And I'm Sorensen 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Ward on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
How about we change that to Built in the USA? For over 21 years, Affordable Computers has been building computers right here in the good old USA, in Chattanooga, using the highest quality parts and components in every new computer they build. Tell us the exact system you need, we'll build it to your specifications. Or you can choose from a wide selection of our PCs and laptops, starting at under $200. All Affordable Computers are upgradable, guaranteed. Affordable Computers services their computers in store, typically within 1 to 3 days. And when you call, they answer the phone. You get support within minutes that you can understand. Affordable Computers of Chattanooga. And service and support extends for the life of the computer, not just for the warranty of the PC. So there's no reason to shop anywhere else. Call Affordable Computers now on Highway 58 Chattanooga, 423-499-1975. That's 423-499-1975.
Or visit our Fort O store, 706-858-5888.
You have to file your 1040 now. We will handle it for you now. Liberty Tax Service will snip out every deduction, every benefit. Liberty Tax Service now. Red Bank, Saudi Daisy, Dayton. Liberty Tax Service now.
Need windows? Hey folks, do you need new windows? Good news. Window Depot of Chattanooga has a great special going on right now. 10 high-quality, energy-efficient double-hung vinyl windows installed for only $29.90. That's right, 10 double-hung vinyl windows, only $2,990. And yes, they qualify for the TVA rebates. Call 894-0011. Window Depot of Chattanooga today, located at 5950 Shalford Road. Call 894-0011 today.
If I'm the city's most intelligent man, it's because I take 2 shots of Mind Enhancement Complex every day. Nature's Finest keeps me stocked with my mainstay, Formula 4. That's where I start. Formula 4. Industrial farming, soil depletion, mineral empty foods. I just say no. Ask about supplements, health, stamina, circulation, heart, prostate under control. Get the Nooga Radio David Tulis freebie. Save $2 on every 5, 20% off. Nooga Radio, Lee Highway, Nature's Finest.
I have the best steak selection in town. The name of the business is Don's Meat Shop, and I'm Donnie Raines. Just ask for Donnie. I make over 20 different types of sausages. Most of them are great for grilling. We have the best selection, best quality. We have the hard-to-find items. Don's Meat Shop.
Here comes the bride, here comes the bride. She's walking down the street.
And she's wearing a stunning diamond ring that's a fraction of the cost that her man would have paid at one of those overpriced mall jewelry stores. Rick Davis has a plethora on quality diamonds and gold rings, and he wants to pass the savings on to you. Did I say plethora? How about overabundance? That's right, an overabundance of gold and diamonds. So before you decide to get crazy and pay full retail on an overpriced piece of jewelry from one of those cookie cutter mall jewelry stores, come on out and see Rick Davis Golden Diamonds. Top quality golden diamonds at a fraction of the cost. Intermarital bliss with an engagement and wedding ring from Rick Davis. Hey, he'll also buy your golden diamonds with cash, and more cash. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds, Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. There goes another happy bride.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
I'm going to talk a little bit more hoops in just a second, but the Met Gala was last night. I like to think of myself as a fairly intellectually curious person, but I have no idea what the Met Gala is. I just know it's this big event and famous people go to it. It really typically does not have anything to do with sports or anything that I actually care about. I'm a big sports guy. I'm a big politics guy. I don't really care about a ton of other stuff. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of music. I don't really care about other stuff. I just can't. So it's funny to me because the Met Gala was last night and people were meeting up, and it was Tom Brady and Roger Federer and a bunch of like famous people, right? Hugh Jackman was there and famous people, and they looked like they were just mingling. It looked like just a really a networking event for super famous people. Okay, I guess. But a lot of people were mocking Roger Federer because Roger Federer was wearing this tuxedo, and it had this cobra on the back of the tuxedo. Like this stitch into the tuxedo was this cobra. And it looks incredibly corny. It looks corny as hell. And I was just looking at it and going, wow, I cannot believe Roger Federer wore that. But then I thought to myself, who am I to question the great Roger Federer? I'm just saying, who am I to question the great Roger Federer? Roger Federer can wear whatever Roger Federer wants. Has Roger Federer not earned the right to wear whatever he wants? He can wear whatever he wants. Roger Federer does not need my permission. Roger Federer does not need your permission. Roger Federer does not need anybody's permission to wear whatever it is that he wants. Roger Federer has done more than enough. Okay? And my case in point is this. Michael Jordan. Like, I can't think of a person as famous as Michael Jordan who is a worse dresser than Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan still dresses like it's the late 1990s. Michael Jordan has been featured in so much denim on denim on denim violence. It looks like a Levi Strauss factory exploded in his house. And like, that was just all that he had left to wear. And he was cool with it. In fairness, that also means that like Michael Jordan does not have like really good friends. He doesn't have really good friends. Like your friends would not let you out of the house looking like that. Like if there were people about you in your life that could get to your face and talk to you and like really care, they wouldn't let you leave the house like that. They wouldn't. Right? Like they would not let you leave the house wearing that much denim. I don't know what that says about Roger Federer, but I'm just saying if I were his friend, I would have advised against the Cobra. But at the same time, like what are you supposed to say to Roger Federer? Roger Federer has earned the right to wear the Cobra. He has. There's nothing you can do to question it. He has more than earned the right to wear the Cobra by being the best tennis player you have ever seen in your life. When you are that great, when you get to be Roger Federer and Michael Jordan, you can wear whatever it is that you want. Right? Like if LeBron James left his house tomorrow wearing clothes inspired by Lady Gaga, like we can all laugh, but like that's all that we would be allowed to do. You can't tell LeBron James nothing because he's pretty great. Right? Like you reach a certain level of greatness, you can kind of do whatever you want. Like nobody has ever concerned themselves with the fact that Bill Gates still dresses like a guy that has way less money than Bill Gates has. Why? Because he's Bill bleeping Gates. That's why. he's Bill Gates. He can wear whatever he wants. And we just have to allow it. I'm just saying, when you reach a certain level of fame, you need like good friends. You need people who can tell you, nah, bro, don't wear that. Don't wear that. And then you can listen to them. And I know LeBron has a good team around him. Because LeBron does not very, very frequently wear stuff that's just whack. Like Russell Westbrook doesn't have any and I can understand why. Like you see how intense Russell Westbrook is. Like Russell Westbrook does not have any really good friends. Because if you had really good friends, like really, really good friends, anywhere from 80 to 90% of the stuff that Russell Westbrook wears in those post-game press conferences, looking like he robbed a TJ Maxx, he wouldn't wear them. He would not wear those things. Okay? You have to have friends who can tell you no. They can look at what you're wearing and go, no. Right? When the Wizards eliminated the Hawks Friday, John Wall went out in the press conference and he had this, it was like a jacket, and the jacket had the little half cape that people used to wear in like the 1800s to be fancy, when you had a top hat and you had a cane and you had gloves and then you had a little half cape. You know? He was wearing one of those. John Wall was wearing a half cape. Because John Wall's friends can't look him in the eyes and go, no, don't wear that. Don't do that. Okay? This is 2017. You can't wear we don't have room for that in 2017. The half cape was going out of style in 1917. I mean, you just can't do that. You got to have good friends in your circle who can be like, okay, no. And then you actually listen to them and take their advice. Russell Westbrook is too intense to have those kinds of friends, so he'll never have them. Right? And then, like, I look at a guy like Kawhi Leonard, who literally looks like he dresses like Tim Duncan, and Tim Duncan looks like he dresses like 1995. 1995 called, and they want their entire thing that Kawhi Leonard wears, they want it all back. They want it all back. But no, Kawhi Leonard's going to be Kawhi Leonard, and he seems like a guy he's too into basketball and he's too above everything else for his friends to be like, Kawhi, don't do that. And he's probably more stubborn than you think he is. So his friends can't tell him anything. Get yourself some good people who can tell you, don't wear that. That's whack. I think that's why LeBron's great. He surrounded himself with people and then he listens to them. His friends tell him, you know what? That's whack. Don't wear that. And then he doesn't. I think that's brilliant. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. Make sure to check us out, by the way, on our website, noogaradio.com. It's a simple website. We made it easy for you. You go to the website, it starts streaming the station. So you can listen online. You're listening to something great. You're listening to David Tulis, right? He's talking about the local economy and how you can use that to make your life better. But then something happens. You've driven to work. You want to listen to the rest, but you don't want to be stuck in your car. You want to get into your job so you can get to work on time. Well, go into your job, log into your computer, go to noogaradio.com, stream it. Stream it. I mean, it starts streaming for you. It's that easy. It's that easy. I don't think anywhere makes it as easy as we make it for you. Okay, there you have no excuses. Go. Listen to it right now. It sounds great. That's all I'm saying. So, Butch Jones likes to use things to his advantage, right? We were talking earlier about Christian Coleman, who took John Ross's challenge. John Ross aimed his challenge at Usain Bolt, but we didn't need Usain Bolt to answer the question of, can John Ross beat Usain Bolt? John Ross can't beat Christian Coleman in a 40-yard dash. He ain't beating Usain Bolt. Okay? And John Ross is fast. Christian Coleman is just way faster. And Butch Jones was talking about, we need to get this man in a Tennessee Volunteers uniform under some pads. That's where Butch Jones' mind went with all of those things, and people thought that Butch Jones was joking, and I am here to tell you that Butch Jones was in fact not joking. You might have sounded like he was joking. He was not joking. You can't teach the level of fast that man has. So Butch Jones has been talking about recruiting with Tennessee, and it's hard. It's hard not to listen to Butch Jones's pitch now. Butch Jones, by the way, who initially had some top recruiting classes with Tennessee, when the only thing that Butch Jones had to offer you was, you can make Tennessee football great again. That's the opportunity that you have. We are so terrible, you can fix it. And he got some talent to go there. He got Josh Dobbs, and he got Derek Barnett, and he got Josh Malone, and initially he got Jalen Hurd. He got a bunch of really good guys to come on in, got some nice recruiting classes. Here's the thing, though. Tennessee has not been this productive in the NFL draft in a little while. And so for Butch Jones is going to do the John Calipari thing. He's going to look at John Calipari's playbook. He's going to look at the part of the playbook that he likes the most, and he's going to rip a page out of that playbook. And that part of the playbook is time to sell you on the professional sports dream. Because I feel like nobody is better at selling the dream of something than Butch Jones. I don't necessarily know about achieving any of these realities, but when it comes to selling the dream, Butch can sell you the dream. I mean, for a few years while he was underachieving, Butch Jones was selling Tennessee fans the dream, and we all bought the dream. Nobody sells the dream better than Butch Jones sells the dream. And now he's got a new dream to sell. We're not even talking about titles, man. We're not talking about being the best team in the SEC. We're not talking about any of that stuff. You come to Tennessee, I'll get you in the NFL. You see, we got a couple of guys up in Pittsburgh. We got the Steelers, like the Steelers drafting Joshua Dobbs. It's like the best thing that ever happened to Butch Jones, right? Like if the Browns drafted Josh Dobbs, it doesn't play as well. It kind of had to be the Steelers, right? Like, or some team in that ilk. It doesn't play as well when it's the Chargers or the 49ers. It just doesn't play as well. The Steelers, though, that place. Yeah, we got Cam Sutton. We got Josh Dobbs in Pittsburgh. I can get you in Pittsburgh. What if I told you I can get you to New England? Butch Jones has got a dream to sell, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Tennessee's recruiting class next year, it's going to be kind of nice. It's going to be kind of nice. When you pair a guy who people refer to very frequently as a car salesman in Butch Jones, and pair that with the reality of the fact that Tennessee did get a bunch of guys drafted. Like, if those guys play at any decently high level, like the guy that I've got my eye on the most is probably Derek Barnett, but then like also Alvin Kamara to a lesser extent. Like, if those guys play at a very high level, yeah, Butch Jones is going to work that. And he's going to sell the dream to so many high school kids. I have a feeling next year's recruiting class for Tennessee, this year was kind of disappointing. And that's why he had that 5-star hearts quote that makes me want to throw up every time I think about it. But when you take that, I feel like next year's recruiting class is going to be quite nice. Quite nice. Clutch with Keon Rolls at AF 1240 and NoogaRadio.com. Make sure to check us out on 92.7 FM as well. And so tonight, we got a couple of NBA games. One interesting game and one game that is not interesting at all, right? So I can start with the not interesting one. The Warriors play the Jazz tonight. The Warriors play the Jazz tonight. And I cannot stress to you enough how uninterested I am in that game. I told you earlier in the show, I don't want to watch bad basketball. I do not sit down and just watch blowouts. I don't find them fun. I do find the Warriors blowouts fun because the Warriors always look like they're having so much fun. Like the Warriors just look thrilled all the time. I mean, the Warriors are down 10, they look thrilled. They're up 20, they look thrilled. Like it's just, they look like they're having a blast. But I honestly don't expect Utah to put up much of a fight against this basketball team. Portland, I thought, was a better matchup for Golden State than Utah is, and Portland got swept. I mean, there's no way. There's no way. That there is a crop dusting waiting to happen. And I'm just not going to do it. I'll tune in for a little bit, but I'm not going to stick around and watch that. And I'll be talking to you tomorrow about how the blowout was. Right? The series I actually want to talk about is Boston and Washington, because that looks like that's got the making of a 7-game series. Like these two teams, hate each other. Like it's not a rivalry because they haven't met enough in the postseason for it to be a real rivalry. When someone is blocking your path to the playoffs, to the title year in and year out, that's the rivalry, right? That's how the Celtics and Lakers were able to become a rivalry, even though they don't really play each other during the regular season. It's because they've met so many times in the finals, obstructing each other's paths to victory, that ultimately a rivalry developed, even though they don't really ever play. Right? Like when someone is stopping you from winning a championship year after year after year, then a rivalry develops. Like we're going to need like 2 or 3 more seasons of Boston and Washington for that to really, really be some kind of rivalry. But like the Wizards were beating the taste out of the Celtics' mouths early in that game. And then the Celtics came roaring back. And I've never seen a performance like that from a team that does not look designed to do that. Like they don't look designed to shoot threes at that clip. But they made 19 of 38 from 3. And I can't imagine that is something that you can repeat again in a series. 19 of 38 from 3. It was an uncanny amount of threes. They went gangbusters. And they blew the game wide open. They ended up coming back from down 16 and then ended up putting on the Wizards and almost getting that lead up to 20. I mean, they just put it on them. And I know that the Celtics like to play small ball, and they play with that pace and space too. They don't get enough credit for it because Isaiah Thomas is a little bit more ISO heavy than a lot of these other guards. But I cannot remember a time where I saw a team and was shocked that they were shooting at the level they were shooting at. Like when the Warriors do it, I'm not shocked. When the Rockets do it, I'm not shocked. That's how they play. Right? Like even when the Blazers do it to a lesser extent, like I'm not shocked. Right? Cleveland has designed themselves to be that. I am not shocked. But man. When the Celtics do it, I'm surprised. 19 threes is a lot of threes to make. And I don't think they can do that 2 games in a row. Who can? If they do that 2 games in a row, I will come here tomorrow like in green from head to toe. I promise. They can't do that again. They make 19 threes again, I will wear nothing but green tomorrow. And we've got a YouTube stream, so you can check us out on YouTube if you really. I'm a man of my word. Man of my word. I will wear green. I'll wear a green shirt. I've got green pants for some reason. I don't know. I've always wanted to be on the PGA Tour. I will wear green from head to toe tomorrow if the Celtics shoot 19 threes again. They ain't shooting 19 threes again. Like making 19 threes? You got to get out of here with that. Like, it almost doesn't even feel like the Wizards got beaten by the Celtics on Sunday. It feels like the Wizards got beaten by math. Just basic mathematics. We're shooting threes, and we're making threes, and you might be taking more shots than us, but the shots we're making are worth more than the shots you are. Like, the Wizards got beaten by mathematics on Sunday. And quite frankly, like, just if we're going to continue with math, I don't think that the law of averages says that a team can shoot 19 of 38 from deep and then go back and hit another 19. If the Celtics drop another 19 threes in that bucket, I will wear green. I will wear a green shirt. I will wear green pants. I will wear green socks. I do not have green shoes, and I'm not about to go buy some over this. I will wear green. I will look like a cucumber tomorrow if the Celtics make 19 threes. You got to be kidding me. But it didn't look like they had anything else to their game. Like, if the Celtics didn't make those threes, they don't win. Like, that didn't look like there was another strategy. It didn't look like, okay, well, if this isn't working, we're just going to attack the basket. If the threes don't fall, that's kind of what we have. And if you're going to be a jump shooting team in the playoffs, like, you're going to have to be Warriors level good to do it, because you live by the jump shot, you die by the jump shot. And to me, that's a little too finicky if you don't have the best three-point shooters on earth, right? Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. The Warriors get to bomb you with threes in large part because they have those three guys. Nobody else in the league has those three guys. Right? Like, I just don't think that I can rely on Al Horford and Jay Crowder and Jaylen Brown to just keep lighting it up from three. Right? Like, these guys can all shoot, but 19 of 38 is uncanny, no? Anyway, that game is coming up right around the corner. It's been a good time today, you guys. Clutch with Keon Rose here on AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. Remember, folks, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Stay clutch, and I'll see you in 24 hours.
News.